what IGNOU is doing in specific. May I request you to
You all know that this program is started by the School of Agriculture in order to develop the human resources for planning, development and implementation of the national policy in agriculture. In this program, there are 4 courses. First course is on the Indian agriculture development. Second course is on the agriculture policy, formulation, components, implementation and comparative analysis. Today this teleconference is part of this course too. The third course is on the project analysis. Fourth course is on the cooperative and farmers organization. Agriculture policy, formulation, component, implementation, comparative analysis. There are 5 blocks. Block 1 is on the introduction. In this blocks we study, we tell about the what are the how agriculture policy is depend, what is the difference between policy and the plan, how agriculture policy is formulated. Then second block is on the policy actions, how a policy is implemented in the country, what are the reasons for failures, what are the reasons for the success, and who are they involved in the policy implementation. This is the part of the block 2. Then course 3 is related to the review of the agriculture policy implemented in India. In this blocks we will study about the different agriculture policy, national agriculture policy, input policy, then land use policy, seed policy. We will discuss about this in course block 3. Then block 4 is on the rural development activity. Then block 5 is related to agriculture policy in selected country. In a selected country there are policy related to America, United States of America, European countries, then developing countries like China, Indonesia, Taiwan. We have discussed about the block 1 introduction. In this there are 3 units. Unit 1 is related to agriculture policy and its instruments. In this we have discussed about the how there are different instruments which help in the policy formulation, what are the different components of agriculture policy. Then second unit is related to agriculture sector goal and policy, why we formulate the agriculture policy, what is the role of the agriculture policy, what are the importance of the agriculture policy. This part we discussed in unit 2 of the block 1. Then third unit is related to the policy formulation, process of the policy formulation. In block 2 there are 4 units. Unit 1 related to the policy implementation, monitoring and evaluation. Unit 2 is related to participatory approach of the agriculture policy process, and then there are case studies at the global level. Then policy unit 3 is related to the policy failures and analysis. In this unit we discussed about what are the reasons for policy failures or how we can overcome these failures. Then fourth unit of this block is related to the governance, what is the role of governance in the policy implementation. Block 3 is related to the review of agriculture policy. In this block we have discussed about the national agriculture policy, input use policy, marketing, trade policy, price policy, the institutional support, what are the research institution, the financial institution, rural development institution. Then unit 5th is related to the investment policy in agriculture. Block 4 of this course is related to farm and non-farm linkage. That is a linkage between the farm and non-farm linkage. We will discuss about what are the linkages in detail. Then structure of farming sector, how agriculture sector has been developed in the last 60 years. We will discuss in the unit 2. Then rural poverty. What different strategies, different IRDP programs and National Rural Employment Guarantee Program, all this is a part of the unit 3. The rural development experience in Asia, in this China, Indonesia we have discussed about in the unit 4th. Block 5th is related to varying agriculture environment and development. In this unit we will discuss about what is the role of the resource availability in the policy implementation and in the development. The second unit of this block is related to the agriculture policy of the developed country. Then third unit is related to agriculture policy of the developing country. Then fourth is related to response to globalization of World Trade Organization. In this, what is the role of the globalization, liberalization and privatization in the agriculture development, we will discuss in the unit 4 of the block 5. First, we should understand what is the agriculture and what is the agriculture policy. So, agriculture is comprised of the two words agar and culture. Agar means field and culture means cultivations. So, hence, agriculture means the cultivation of a field. In practice, agriculture includes all the practices related to the production of the food, feed, fiber, fuel and other products related to the systematic regime of the plants and rearing of the animals. Policy is a course of plan of actions. It is meant to achieve certain predetermined goals or objectives. A plan is related to what to do in a particular situation. Then the policy include the two parts. One is the predetermined goals. Second is a plan which is action comprising some interrelated and implementable actions. Agriculture policy, what is the actual meaning of the agriculture policy? Is a plan of action related to the production of crops or animals or the integrated practices of crop and animal rearing. This is the very general definition of the agriculture policy. There are two perspectives of the policy. One is the government perspective and other is the organizational perspective. Government perspective means the basic principle of which guide a government to achieve some objective which are in the interest of the national community. The then organizational perspective is the set of the basic principles and associated guidelines formulated and reinforced by the governing body of organization to direct or limit its action in pursuit of the long-term objective. So, government perspective means the guidelines which a government to follow in order to take some in order to achieve predetermined objective. In case of organization, is the principle or associated guidelines which are formulated to define or to achieve the predetermined goal of a particular organizations. Whichever the perspective is agriculture policy or policy is a pre-projected program of goals and strategy and their consistent practices over a period of time which benefits from periodic review. Agriculture policy is a broad guideline that define the mandate and objective of sectoral agency. Then third definition of the agriculture policy aims to provide a comprehensive, integrated and coordinated framework for the management of the both human and physical resources toward the sector objectives. There are many elements in the agriculture policy. There are 6 major elements which we have to have included in the agriculture policy or any policy. First elements is the vision, second is the missions, objectives, strategies, instruments and organization and management. We will discuss all these elements in detail somewhat. Vision is a clear statement whether an organization would like to become or wishes to achieve at some future point of time. It's a statement of what an organization want to achieve or want to be wish to achieve at a some future date of time. For example, develop the sector so that it become a source of food and raw material for the economy. Or second example is the develop the sector to achieve the broader goal of employment-led national income growth, poverty alleviation and self-reliance. This is the two brief example of the vision. Then mission is the vision translated into a statement of goal and priorities. It's a very specific. Now it's a narrow part of the vision. So it provides a direction and purpose. Then for example, in case of Indian agriculture sector, focus on the agriculture development in well endowed region with the good irrigation. If we want to increase the food grain production, so our mission will be to focus on the agriculture development in well endowed region with good irrigations. Second example, focus on the fragile area, rain-fed, drought-prone hills, like that. The third example is the emphasis broad-based growth spread across region from farm size, category and enterprise. These are the three goals. So if you want to increase the food grain production in the country, there may be three missions. Focus on the irrigated part, which are the well endowed regions. Then second is we should concentrate our part in the rain fed or where are the resources are less. Or third mission may be the emphasis should be growth both the part, growth in the both the part of the objective of the agriculture policy in India. The specific goals that are desired and that reflect the development of the sector. These are the these are the objective of the agriculture any policy. The specific sector goals that are desired and that reflect the development of the sector. For example, per capita output and real net national product growth. This may be the one of the objective. The elevation of the poverty of those living below poverty lines. Third may be the better vocational oriented elementary education. So objectives are prioritized in the context of resource requirement and feasibility. We may have 4 or 5 objectives. We can't achieve all the objectives, so that we have limited resources. We have to prioritize our objectives. So that's why objectives are prioritized in the context of resource requirement and feasibility. This is one of the important elements of the agriculture any policy. The next element of the policy is the strategy. Strategy is related to the options available for realizing the prioritized objectives. So how we can achieve our objectives is related to is what we call is how we, that's the strategy. For example, if we want to increase the food grain production, so there may be the strategy of extensive farming. Extensive farming, so we have to increase the geographical area under agriculture. Intensive agriculture means we have to increase the crop intensity. Then scientific knowledge based technical. These are the three strategy in order to achieve the increase food grain production. So we have to decide which strategy we have to follow. So strategy is the important component of the agriculture policy. Then instruments, which means we can achieve our objectives in agriculture policy. So this what we call is the instruments. Instruments can be manipulated by the managers to achieve the desired effects. There are two types of agriculture policy instruments. One is the price related, one other is the non-price related. We can divide the instruments of policy in two parts. One is the price related instruments, one the non-price related instruments. Price related instruments are the minimum support prices the government announce before coming up the every seasons, Rabi season or Kharif seasons. The second is price related the subsidy, provide the subsidy in the input purchasing by the farmers or seed purchasing, there is subsidies there. Non-price related instruments are the research and development and extensions. Support the agriculture research systems or extension system in order to develop the new technology or in order to translate the developed technology to the farmers level. Then developmental infrastructure and developmental institutions is the non-price related instruments. Then last elements of the policy is the organization and management. How policy will be implemented is a very important part. Otherwise, many times we frame the good policies which cannot be implemented, which we don't know how to implement those. So implementation part of the policy is we have to define at the time of the policy formulation. That's we call the organization. Then what agency, which type of agency we should involve in managing the instruments of policy. Then agriculture sector comprises several subsystems which are interlinked, hence need to be managed effectively. Agriculture is linked with the many sectors. Extension, the farmers subsystem is there, input subsystem is there, market subsystem is there, finance subsystem is there. So we have to link to all these subsystems in the agriculture policy is the part of management of the agriculture policy. What is the need of the agriculture policy? Need is a very important aspect. We have to tell before preparing the any agriculture policy in advance, what is the role of the agriculture policy. Actually, the practice of the farming, of the technical aspect of cultivation of animal rearing is the main activity that generate income for the producer. But it is actually when we do the agriculture, it generate the income to the farmers. But this is the only one aspect. Income generation, production of the produce is the only one aspect of the agriculture. In addition to this, there are many objectives, many bases. Agriculture sector has to provide the food and nutritional security. This is the prime objective at this time by the for the governments. There are other aspects. Agriculture provides the rural livelihood. It provides the employment to the majority of the around 55% of the total population in the country depend on agriculture. So this is the important aspect of the any agriculture policy. The source of livelihood and income security to all those who facilitate the distribution of produce to the rural or urban communities. This is the marketing aspect. So this agriculture sector is provide the income to the all the people who are involved in the marketing of the produce. So this is the one of the things. Then source of livelihood security to those people who are associated with the production and distribution of input. The another aspect is the input sector. It also provides the employment or income to the peoples who are engaged, who take their employment input industry, seed industry, fertilizer industry. It means agriculture sector also provide a source of income to the industrial aspect. Here in this slide we have presented what is the importance or what is the magnitude of agriculture in the country. Purpose of there are 72% population is depend on the agriculture, who are rural peoples. Then there are 89 million farm household in the country. There are 121 million operational holding in the country. Then 485 million animals, cattle are there in the country. The 142 million hectare is the net cultivated area in the country. Then agriculture sector provides share to the GDP is 18%. So 80% of the total GDP is given from the agriculture sector. Then there are 61,194 crores rupees export from the agriculture sector. There is also import in the agriculture sector, that is the 23,455 crores. So there is a net export and net income from the foreign exchange more in the agriculture sector. So that's why agriculture sector, growth of the agriculture sector is important. So in the agriculture sector there is a need for inter-sector integration, because there are many sectors which are dependent on agriculture. There are many other sectors on which agriculture sector is dependent. A subsector of the agriculture sector, crop, animal husbandry, agroforestry, fisheries, poultry. There are many sectors which are subsector of the agriculture. They are interlinked with each other. Within the crop sector also there are food crop, there is cash crop, there is plantation crop, there is a horticulture crop, there are field crops, fiber crops. There are many crops. So it's a wide sector. Agriculture sector is a very wide sector. Policies related to the various subsector must necessarily be integrated. If you want to frame a policy for the food crop sector, so we have to see other sector also at the time of preparing the policy for the food sector. The one considerable interlinkages and the interdependency exist between these subsectors. Okay. Then secondly, the most farmer practices a combination of all the farmers in the India particularly, they grow two crops. So they grow the crops as well as they also rear the animals. So these are there is a interdependency is there. Then dynamics of subsectors, the changing demand pattern, present income enhancing. Then there is a change in the consumption pattern also. So it provides the new opportunity to the farmers for the increase in the incomes or income enhancement. There is intersectoral integration. Overall economic development is a complex process. It's dependent entirely upon the enhancement of production resources, the technology improvement, efficient market, food security and access to the food, nutritional improvement, regional distribution and justice, equity and gender. These are the various issues we have to tackle. So all these points are dependent on the agriculture sector growth. So we have to see how we can increase the, if we want to frame the any policy, we have to see how much enhancement of protection resources will be there, what type of technology there, how technology can be improved, whether the efficient market is available or not, or whether first it will add to the food security or not, whether this policy will help in the nutritional improvement, then whether this policy, any policy will be helpful in the regional distribution justice, this, whether this policy will provide the equity to the all the segment of the country. These are the important issues. Then interdependence between the agriculture and the sector is obvious. There is an interdependence. So what will be the impact of this particular policy on the both type of agriculture sector and non-agriculture sector? The agriculture sector is the source of raw material to the manufacturing sector. Then service sector facilitates operation in the agriculture sector. Also they offer. Then manufacturing and service sector are the market. Manufacturing and the service sector are the market for the agriculture input supplier for agriculture sector. Then there is a trade-off between the policy of different sector. Here is what we want to say, that there should be trade-off. There should be balance between the agriculture sector then non-agriculture sector. What are the instruments available for the agriculture policy in India particularly? There are two types of instruments are there. Price related instruments are there, non-price related instruments are there. Price related instruments are the price support in terms of the procurement price or minimum support price. We provide the food subsidy to the rural peoples or the peoples below poverty line. We also sometimes provide the direct employment, or this may be the one of the option in case of the price related instruments. The second major group of the instruments are the warehouse receipt, non-price. Warehouse receipt means when we store our product, when farmers restore their product, storage, they get the receipt from the warehouses, and based on that receipt they can get the loan or credit from the financial institution. Then infrastructure development will help in the agriculture policy. This is the one of the instrument. Then exchange rate management also provide incentive for the export earning. Then trade rate regulation is the one of the instruments. So the credit policy, providing the cheap credit to the farmers, is one of the instruments. Then agrarian reforms, and there are land use policy, the land reforms policy. These are the some of the instruments which comes in the non-price related instruments. What are the agriculture sector government policy options in the? So there we have multiple goals in agriculture. One goal is in the self-sufficiency in the food sector. The food security for the people is a major concern for the policy maker. Self-reliance and an alternative goal, but the self-reliance of food production alternative, reliance on the trade has certain disadvantages. Then livelihood security is the one of the goal. Then income and profit enhancement is the one of the goal. The raw material supply to agro industry is the one of the policy goal. Then functionality of the agriculture, food and fiber production, the conservation of the natural resources, and the environment protection, provision of safe and high quality food these are the some of the goals of the agriculture sector. Then what are the components in the agriculture policy? There may be the diverse goals. There are always the multifunctionality of agriculture. But there are a number of the component of any policies. Important components of agriculture policy are the inputs. Input means land, seed, fertilizers, equipments, machinery, water, seed, credit. These are the important input related component of agriculture policy. The incentive components include the price support, subsidy, tax, then tariff, non-tariff barriers in the moment of the goods. These are the then investment is the one of the component in agriculture sector. And then regulation and control, APMC, Inter Marketing Act or EC Act, FE Act. These are the important component. Then how to formulate the policy? This is the most critical part. We have to understand that the agriculture policy formulate the economic and political process. Lot of discussion go on. It's a political decision. In this first the discussion start, we have to the government discuss with the many people, society people, expert view. They take their view on various issues related to agriculture. Then second part is start with the formulation, setting goal, specific plan to them. Then these are the formulation. We have to set the goal in the agriculture policy. So this is the legitimate investing authority or investing in the sector policy to generate acceptance. We have to also do some research, or so that the government policy also do some research, or they also invest, they also do a number of the study to find out the acceptance of the particular policy. Then there is a need to clarity on the issues. What are the issue, which issue we want to tackle through particular policy. Then what should be the objective, what should be the policy option, what should be the instruments in agriculture policy. There are many ingredients for agriculture policy formulation process. First part is the data information duly analyzed. An issue or which issue you want to tackle, we should have the complete data or information, or this data and information need to be analyzed thoroughly. Then second part is identifications of or impact on actor. What will be the impact of this policy on other related sector or actor or stakeholder? We have to analyze that thing properly. What type of capacity required to develop the particular policy or to implement that particular policy, or how we can build the capacity of the stakeholder, we have to see. Then second is the creation of policy network. Then we have to develop the who will develop this policy, which type of the institution will be involved in developing the policy. We have to identify, we have to see in then we have to see what are the resources available, how these resources, available resources, how the available resources, water or land will be utilized, how in the different enterprise or different sectors. So we have to study the competitiveness of the resources also, or what are the risks in implementing, or what are the risks will be there after implementing that particular agency. We have to see in that what are the interfaces required between the institution or department or governments, different ministries, different organizations. We have to see all this part. What is the process? First, at the time of the policy formulation, first there is a need to set up the policy agenda. First we have to identify what is the issue actually for which we want to develop the any policy. Then we have to prepare the statement of policy vision. What should be the major broad objectives we have to identify. Then we have to define the policy goals based. Then we have to define the setting of objective, achieving the one particular goal. So in particular, in order to fulfill our visions and missions, there is a need to 4 or 5 objectives. Based on the available resource, we need to identify we need to prioritize our objectives. So this is the setting of objectives is very then developing a time schedule is very important. How much time is required to develop our policy, how much time we will give for the implementation of policy, how much time we will give for the follow-up of any particular policy. We have to define in advance in very specific term and condition. Then after that, all these 5 we will develop the draft policy documents. It should be very comprehensive. It should include all the type of all that vision, missions, objectives, the strategy of the implementation, and then which are the stakeholder will be there. All these things we will include in the draft policy in the draft policy document. The next part is how to implement the policy implementation, because implementation of policy is critical for the success of that particular policy. There are many approaches is there. One approach is the top-down approach, the second approach is the bottom-up approach. Top-down approach to implementation focus on the strategy is related to stated policy or trades implementation as output of the prescription. Top-down ensures the policy is framed by the top level is the government functionary, or says is implemented at the ground level. The bottom approach is on the target group or actors. In this part, the initiative is taken by the target groups or the actors that plan or that stakeholders. Suppose a policy is developed at the farmers level, that the farmers they plan, they develop, execute the policy. This is the bottom approach for policy implementation. There are many problems in policy implementation. There is a need for the regular revision of the any policy. There is a need for mid-course revision. Actually, there is in India particularly or any other developing, there is a lack of the coordination or monitoring between the agencies. There is no coordination between the different agencies who are involved in the implementing that particular agency. There is a lack of clear direction at the local levels for the implementer. There is sometimes the local level, suppose at the panchayat level, they don't know what actually we have to implement, how to implement. So there is a lack of the direction at the local level also. There is a insufficient enforcement measures. Suppose somebody is not working very properly in the, so there is a need for enforcement measure. There is a this is the most common in India. There is a delay in the approval of the plans. Suppose one particular plans has to be approved by the authority, it will take a lot of time. So it will go to another that particular policy. This is, and then again is the delay in the procurement. Sometimes the procurement is not very easy. The procurement, there is a lot of functionary that financial approval is required. So the procurement is not take part. So that's why there is a problem in the procurement. Then assessing impact of policy, this is the most important critical part. How to assess the impact of, so the measuring of the outcome of the policy implementation on individual institutions and economy, this is the assessment. So this outcome of the policy, we don't know how to measure this outcome of the policy on the individual institutions, stakeholder as a economy as a whole. During the assessment, we should include this four the impact on the environment, impact on a society, impact on the health, or overall we have to see this for us. What are the tools for the impact assessment? There are two tools for the impact assessment. One is the descriptive assessment, one is the quantitative assessment. Descriptive less, the descriptive just seeing, just going the field or see the what is the impact is the this is the descriptive technique, but this is the very reliability is very less in that case. This quantitative technique or the modeling approach are more rigorous. In this we have to develop the scoring. There is scoring approach there, economic surplus model is there, programming models are there, simulation is there, economic models. In this we have to develop the strategy or we have to develop the some score. We have to identify the which particular research or statistical technique we have to use. This is the very rigorous require the computers or many other. We need to show data collection at the thorough. So there is a need for sampling of the respondent farmers. In this there is a possibility that the policy can fail, or there is a reason also. So we need to see what are the reason is there for policy failures. Policy can be failed. Yes, we have to accept this. In many policy have been failed in the country so far. Or there are reasons also there. There are theoretical reasons also there. Too much or too little emphasis on the some aspect is the one of the. Then reliance on wrong form of instruments or bureaucratic preferences. If you want to, we have developed the policy in that if particular instruments based on the price instruments or non-price we have selected, that may be the wrong. So this is the one of the possibilities there. What makes the policy successful? This is the very important questions. There should be the balanced trade-off among the objectives. There may be 4 or 5 objectives. We have to see there should be a balance between the. Then there should be judicious combination of the various. So this is the important aspect. The built-in check-in or balance during the implement is very. There should be checks should be there. There should be the balance between the implementation should be there. The National Agriculture Policy is formulated in the 2000. Broad objective are to realize the untapped potential of the agriculture and accelerate growth of the Indian agriculture. The major objective are to 4% growth rate in the agriculture sector. In this policy, there are 10 important components. First component on the sustainable agriculture. Second component on the food and nutrition security. Third component was the transfer of technology. Fourth component was on improvement of rural input management. There are second next component was the incentive for agriculture sector. In the incentive for agriculture, there should be the removal of distortion in incentive, domestic or external market reforms, then improved term for trade with the manufacturing. The increased investment in agriculture, this was the one of the component in the form of the infrastructure, in the form of the agro processing. Then greater role for the institution in agriculture, risk management in insurance, or risk management or insurance is one of the major component. There are other policy also there, input use policy also there, national land use policy is also there, which is implemented in 1987. Then marketing policy is also there. In marketing, market regulation is there. In modern APMC Act was implemented in 2003. There are no recent policy. The national farmers policy is also implemented in the 2007. Then the agriculture price policy is also there. In the government also give the price support to the farmers. Government announced the procurement price at that before coming of the particular seasons. Then government, there is a CACP, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. They set up the agriculture policy, price related policy. In this session we will discuss about the how agriculture policy is implemented, how agriculture policy is implemented, what is the meaning of the agriculture policy. Then what are the different instruments are there, the price related instruments are there, non-price related. What are the elements in agriculture policy? There is a vision, mission, goals, objective, strategy, then organization. These are the elements in the agriculture policy is there. Then how this agriculture policy, what is the process of policy formulation in India? These things we have discussed. I think this session you will learn about how to form the agriculture policy in the country. So I thank all the students of the agriculture policy.